This episode is brought to you by our patrons. Thank you so much for being a patron. And if you're not one and you'd like to become a patron, just jump on over to patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. Now, on with our show. What's up, Chad?
Oh, it's Wednesday, because I had a thing yesterday, and I had a thing on Monday.
Uh-huh. You had things.
It's been a week, and it's only Wednesday.
You came back to work week and did work week stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's fine.
Yeah.
That happens. We have those weeks. That's why we don't release until Thursday. We have 3 days.
That's right.
We have a 3-day buffer.
We have 3 full days.
And honestly, we've got such a good workflow with our podcast that we can get it out by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't really stress out about it really anymore, especially whenever we're in the car together.
Yeah.
Because there is less editing for me, and either way, there is no more, no less for you. So.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I would say the one good thing about us being in the car together is if I wanted to, I don't have to wait for you to post.
Yes.
Like, you could airdrop this at the end, and
Right.
I'd have both sides of the audio. Whereas if I want to go do podcast notes after we record remotely, well, I can do it from my side.
Yeah.
And it's so weird listening back to a one-sided file.
Yeah.
Because mostly it's me just going,
Yeah. Just like the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be honest, this episode, there isn't a lot of talk about, but I do want to get into 2 things, and I want to do this out over past the music, because our weekend was so big.
It needs to be
talked about.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk about that thing on your wrist, the new Apple Watch.
What if I refuse?
Well, then it's going to be a very short episode. So
let's go to the other side of the music.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike.
Yeah, you are.
So
what'd we do this weekend?
We were half epic. Half epic, but fully epic in the same time.
I feel like we were fully epic.
Yeah. So I won an entry to a really big bike race, a bike race that sells out every year, a mountain bike race. And
650 entries gone in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Or in the time span of a day.
I won an entry 2 months ago.
Shout out to Kuat.
Yeah, thanks, Kuat. And that was like, well, okay, I'm going to go now. So, and when you go there, the best thing to do is to camp, because it starts at Camp Resort, Bass Resort.
Yeah.
Which is a very nice camp resort.
We're talking just outside Steelville, Missouri.
Yeah. So
which is a hard... my southern tongue has a hard time saying Steelville.
I have a hard time saying steel, period. I want to say still all the time.
Right. I want to say Steelville or Steelville.
Okay. I don't know that I have that.
It's hard for me to do both.
So we camped there all weekend. Came down Friday night.
Cold.
Race, yes, it was cold Friday night. 45-ish degrees overnight. Then we started our bike race on Saturday, but we didn't think Chad was going to be able to register. But we get there. We go into the registration place.
Yeah, I was just along for the ride.
Yeah, he was literally going to be my SAG if he couldn't get there. So he was going to be at a specific aid station to basically say, "Here you go, here's your stuff. How's it going?" And then push me down the trail.
Right.
And
now let's get you back on the road.
Yeah. So
on the trail, not the road.
Surprisingly, well, kind of surprisingly, not surprisingly, with any race, you have entries and people don't show up.
Sure.
So,
including someone that we won't mention, but I also entered for a free entry into this race the week of, because I was going anyway.
Yeah.
And somebody else won, and that somebody else, who I contacted to try to get their free entry from them, never contacted me back. Didn't even go.
There was a bot
Didn't even go.
It was a bot. A bot won it.
But Kuat, I don't even know if this is a big deal. I have a top fan badge on their Facebook page.
Yeah, you're a...
You know that website that I don't use?
Yeah, that FB.
Yeah, the FB. Anyway, I digress.
So Chad got an entry, long story short. Chad got an entry, and so we both woke up nice and early and got on our bikes out of our campsite and started the race.
Yeah.
This 50-mile journey.
A 50-mile race. What previous long on a mountain bike?
What did we do?
Not previous long mountain bike ride. Previous long time in the saddle on a mountain bike. That's what I want to know.
For me?
For you.
40.
40.
Yes.
Previous long single track mountain bike ride.
25.
Okay. Both of mine are the same.
Yeah.
27 and 27.
Yeah.
Because it was the same day.
Uh-huh.
So here we set out on this 50-mile epic single track journey.
Totally unprepared.
Not totally.
Yes, totally unprepared.
This guy was totally unprepared.
Well,
I forgot my Camelback.
We were both very undertrained for this particular type of event. But
with 2 months of warning.
You know, we set out with the expectation of this is just going to be fun. And ultimately, I think in the end, that's what it was. It was a blast. The single track the part that we rode, we did not complete it. I'll just start with that. We did 21 miles of the race.
Uh-huh.
And it was a blast, but the single track was amazing. To me, it was probably some of the best state single track that you can find that's been around forever. That trail's been there.
State park.
Yeah. That trail's been there for years and years and years and years. Ryan said something like he thinks it's been around for like 100 years.
The race itself has been going on for 13.
Yeah.
And we've got plenty of single track that's younger than 13 years old.
Oh, yeah. The nice part about it was it was hand-cut single track. It was not machine dug. There was all the natural stuff that you would want. But whoever hand dug that trail years and years and years and years ago did it with the mindset of not riding a horse. Because anytime you see like state run trail that's like for a horse, you just go up the hill and you go down the hill.
Right.
There are very little switchbacks.
Right.
Where this one, it felt like we were in a hilly area, but they really did it right to where you didn't feel like you were climbing for hours.
They gave us plenty of reprieve from the torture that could have been endured.
Yes.
And so instead of going from here to the other side of the ravine, you followed the flow of the land to the end of the ravine and then came back. And yeah, that takes an extra 3/4 of a mile to get to the same place. But by horse, it's easy. By mountain bike, it's not.
Yeah. And it's super enjoyable. I loved the trail. I loved it. So
the ups were not bad.
Yeah.
The downs were long.
Yeah, oh yeah. Surprisingly long.
Yeah, which is not normally the case.
I felt like I got rewarded with more downhill than uphill, but looking back, I think
it was pretty split.
It was pretty split.
Yeah.
There was a lot of climbing, but it wasn't straight up. So like you may have climbed for 10 miles out of that 21, but you didn't feel like you climbed for 10 miles.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I had a major mechanical, and Chad had one too, but I had mine first.
Yep.
And basically my bike has a derailleur extension on it to allow me to work with a larger cassette range than what the bike originally came with and what that derailleur was designed for. And so that extender it allows you to get into these ranges, but it's also another point that could break on the bike.
Yep.
Now, anytime you're dealing with a derailleur hanger or a derailleur hanger extension, those are specifically designed to snap because you don't want your frame to break or your derailleur to break, but derailleurs will break easier than frames and derailleur hangers should break easier than derailleurs. And so I broke the extension. Luckily, I knew about all that because I put it all on, and I knew that I could take that extension off and put the derailleur directly on the original derailleur hanger that's still on my bike and get into at least 8 out of the 10 gears.
That's so good that you knew that.
Yeah. Whenever I figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to work?
This isn't going to be that bad.
Yeah. So I got that fixed. Chad caught up to me, said hi, and zoomed off into the racing abyss. I eventually caught him a little bit later, and we met up at the campground. But you had a problem.
Okay, none of that is what happened.
That is totally what happened. You caught up to me.
Here's how I remember it.
Okay.
I caught up to you. I pulled over. You were basically done making your repair. So that's how far behind Mike I was.
Well, you don't know how quick I did the repair.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. I was like, okay, if you're good, I'm going to take off. And I did. And like basically on the next climb, you were like, hey, what's up, buddy? And I was like, okay, just let me know when you want to pass. And you were like, I want to pass. And I was like, okay. And then you were gone.
Well,
and you were at the halfway point for like a half hour before I got there. Like Mike, even when we're in the exact same shape, you're fast on a bike, dude. On a mountain bike.
It's because I'm colorblind. This is a joke.
Oh, do explain.
Yes, this is a joke that one of my friends that I used to ride with quite a bit, that I actually started riding with when I originally first mountain biked. He was very, very hesitant to do any features, to do any downhill-y type stuff fast. And he always told me, it's because you're colorblind, you can't see the color of fear. So, and I by no means am all that fast compared to the people that we were riding in the race with.
Sure.
There are some people there that were just absolutely insane. So, yeah, I don't know. I was feeling good there for quite a while, and then after that mechanical, doing those climbs in my 8th gear made a big difference between my 10th gear.
Yeah, so here's the problem with not having your lowest gear. Like what we said were none of the climbs were like super long or super steep, or actually some of them were pretty long, but they weren't super steep. But what you would have would be like this little 2-foot section of like roots or rocks, and like you need a quick pump to get up over it.
Yeah.
And when you have to do that in your 3rd easiest gear versus your easiest gear, it makes your muscles have to fire harder. You said you felt like you hadn't cramped yet, but they were coming.
Oh yeah, it was gonna happen within a few miles.
Yeah, the push that is required to do that same movement is greater.
Yeah.
And it gets, it's like, easiest way to describe it, it's like wanting to squat 10 pounds but needing to squat 50.
Yeah.
Like you have to push harder. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yours happened around mile 14?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
At mile 17, I realized that I hadn't really fueled.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I had eaten one of those Stinger waffles.
Yeah.
And the Gatorade I was drinking is 0 because I'm a weight weenie right now. And so I was like, I feel fine right now, but like this is not going to end well if I don't do something. So I found a spot where there was a down tree that was totally bench height. And I just stopped and took 10 minutes and ate my bar, went to the bathroom, drank about half my bottle, which I had filled up at the previous aid station. It was now half Gatorade, half water.
Oh, okay. A little mixture.
A little mixture. And like, I just took my sweet time. Bunch of people went past me. Whatever. Like, I'm doing fine. I get back on the bike, not even a half mile later. Someone catches up with me. I was having some knee pain, too, which was making it really hard to climb.
Yeah.
And up to the aid station around 10.5 was totally fine. After the aid station, like, it started hurting.
Yeah.
And so I had done a 10K last week when I thought I wasn't going to get to ride and probably spent my legs.
Yeah.
So anyway, at like mile 17.5, 18, I pull to the side to let someone go past. I kick up a little stick. The stick gets caught in my chain and my spokes and my derailleur. It pulls the derailleur over into the spokes of my bike to where they actually got stuck together. And everything came to a stop.
Yeah, that will cause that.
Nothing moves at that point. And so I flip the bike over. I start trying to even take in what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the stick out. Well, before I turned it over, I got the stick out and I just clipped back in and started trying to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I can't move.
Oh.
So I flip it over. I see that the spoke is caught inside the derailleur, which is just wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not a thing that should happen. But
No.
anyway, because of that, the clutch on my derailleur is broken.
Mm-hmm.
My derailleur is bent to crazy extents. I have a bent spoke, which is causing a wobbly wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And now my gears are jumping.
Ah.
And so I can't just pick a gear and ride in it.
Right.
Like, I've just got to kind of pick one that's close and know that sometimes it's going to be a little harder and sometimes it's going to be a little easier.
Right.
Until I get to my first climb.
Yeah.
And I go to shift down and I'm riding and I just instinctively will hit the lower shifter again to see if there's more gears.
Yeah.
And I did that, and when it shifted, I took like maybe 2 pedal strokes, and the chain jumped off to the inside of the cassette, got stuck in the spokes, in between the spokes and the cassette.
Yeah.
Again, came to a halt.
Right.
While climbing this time, so that's even better.
Yeah, that's even better.
And so I flip it over, and I get that out, and I realize that because my derailleur is bent now, I have lost access to my lowest gear.
Mm-hmm.
Except for by shifting to my second lowest gear, and sometimes it drops into my lowest gear.
Right.
Which is also awful.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, on top of my knee hurting, now I'm having to climb in harder gears. Yeah. And I'm even climbing in harder gears than I need to, because to see what gear I'm in, I have to look down between my legs, which means I have to take my eyes off the trail. And so I'm trying not to do that, and I'm just hoping that I'm not too low.
Right.
When I shift. And so I pull into Berryman to the campground. This is the big, it's called the halfway point, but it's 21 out of 50.
Yeah.
I can kind of see why it would be considered halfway, because there was a lot of, it is halfway between you and the campsite.
Right.
But there's a little 7 or 8 mile tack on at the end, a little loop that you do. And so I get it. But anyway, I see you, which I was surprised to see you. Because when you said you had your derailleur fixed, like, I thought you had it fixed.
Yeah.
Like, not modified to where you could only get 1 through 8.
Right.
And so I just figured you'd be gone. And you're like, hey, how's it been going? And I just immediately launch into all of my complaints about what's going on. And what'd you say?
I don't remember. I just told you no complaining.
Yeah. You go, can you tell me something positive?
Yeah.
And I go, this single track's really nice. I'm having a fun day.
Yeah. And then I was like, so do you want to call it?
And I said, yep, I sure do.
So we called it at that point, and it was the right thing to do. We actually rode our bikes 13 miles back to the campsite on partially paved and mainly gravel road. And just by doing that, it was a good call.
I'm very glad that we rode back. And I said this while we were out there. And here's why. When we decided to call it, but we were still hanging out in camp, or at the campground, I was already thinking to myself, I could probably push through if it weren't for my derailleur.
Right.
Or I could probably push through if it weren't for my knee.
Yeah.
Or maybe I could push through, period.
Right.
I don't know. It's an endurance event. Like, endurance events hurt.
Right.
That's just what they are, right?
Exactly.
And when we actually started riding back on incredibly smooth dirt road, like wide dirt road, where you don't need the focus of single track, and we're not climbing over roots and big rocks and all of this stuff, and I am crawling up hills and whining a lot, honestly, about my knee. And I even dropped the chain once on the gravel road because I thought I had one more gear and I didn't. And I said, I'm really glad we did this ride so that I know that we made the right call in quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Because a 13-mile easy ride that wasn't easy is way better than 29 miles of tough single track.
Yeah. We made the right call. I definitely want to go back and do it again, but I want to specifically set that as my goal for the year. Like that be the race that I want to complete, because even everybody that we talked to, they said, no matter how many times you do this, this is a hard event.
Yeah.
And
you might not finish any given time you go out.
They said it doesn't get easier anytime you come out and do it, because you, for one, you know the course. And then you know when you can push and when you can't push. And you train harder for the next time. And you train harder for the next time.
Sure.
And inevitably you're putting in the same amount of effort. But I definitely think, and I know from my past experiences where I had endurance events, that if I do train for a specific event, the outcome is pretty much
favorable.
Always I'm benefiting from the training.
Right.
So, but I had fun. I'm glad you could go. And that was our very fun, long mountain bike adventure weekend.
It was a really good time.
Yeah, it was fun. So, tell me about that thing on your wrist.
Oh, this thing right here?
Yeah, give me your summary. Give me your short-term review that you have. Is there things that you like that you don't like already? And
So I don't even remember if we mentioned on the show.
We did.
We probably okay.
Yeah.
I got an Apple Watch Series 6. It came in Monday, which was honestly good.
Yeah.
Because I'm glad I didn't have it all weekend to like mess with and be thinking about and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I really like it.
Good.
It's one of those things where like when I get it out of the box, like I'm excited because it's a new thing. Mm-hmm. It's new shiny, right. You know, right?
Yeah.
And like as I'm taking off my Garmin, I'm like, am I gonna like? Yeah. You don't know.
You spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
On something you just don't know if it's gonna be exactly what you want.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in between the two watches, $1,000. Like.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. And so, initial, I love being able to reply to a text from my watch. That's the one thing 3 years ago I told you, I wish there was just like a simple preset, okay, or thumbs up, or no.
Yeah.
Like those three. If I just had those three, I could reply to most texts I get while I'm running or while I'm riding.
Right.
And so I love being able to do that. And yeah, you can type out your own response, but there's like a preset, maybe 6 or 7 at the very bottom of the list. Mm-hmm. And then there are some that kind of take the context of what the text is about. And those change from text message to text message. Yeah. And so it's really cool. Really cool. I have done Dingus to text once so far. Mm-hmm. I was a little confused because when you do it on your phone, she says, would you like me to send it? Mm-hmm. And you say yes or no. Mm-hmm. When I did it from my watch, she just said, okay, I've sent that for you. And you have the option to click no, don't send it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't actually know when it went out.
It goes out seconds later.
Okay.
Like it gives you time
to call it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I could do this on my Garmin. I could answer a phone call from my watch. Mm. But basically what I would do with that is like if I were getting my kids in the car or whatever, I'd hit answer and you'd just be in my pocket listening and I'd like
so
shout
speaker would
and I'd shout hang on. Yeah.
Okay.
And finish what I was doing and then pull my phone out and then I would talk. And so this actually happened yesterday. I was putting the kids in the car, picking them up from daycare. And I answered, and I was just like, hey, I'm putting the kids in the car and just talking to my wrist because I'm James Bond now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm ate up with the rings, of course.
Yeah. Of course you are, because it's the new thing.
What is triggering that?
I don't know. What's triggering that? It's probably the raise to speed.
Yeah, so you don't actually have to say hi, whoever, to the Apple Watch. You just have to raise it like you're looking at the time and put it close to your mouth, and then it starts. I just triggered Siri twice, and so that's what we were talking about just now.
Yeah.
My wife is on like day 120 or 30 something of closing her rings.
Nice.
Every day since she got it.
Yeah.
And so it was funny because last night I had my stand and my move closed, but I still needed 1 minute of exercise. I had been sitting on the couch. I had my laptop out. We were watching TV. I'd been sitting on the couch for probably 45 minutes, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just got up and started jogging in place. And she goes, I love this so much, because she's been doing that some. And she goes, you've been sitting there forever. Like, I thought your stand ring was closed already. And I go, it is. I need 1 more minute of exercise. But then by the time I went to bed, I had 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And so at some point, I did enough of whatever to like activate it or whatever. But anyway, so I love the rings. It is very motivating. I like the badges too. Right now, there's just a lot of stuff that I don't know to expect is coming. And so for me, when it pops up and it's like, hey, good job, you did this thing. I'm like, ooh, yes, I did. Thank you for acknowledging that. But it's kind of like what we were talking about with PRs. Like, why don't PRs reset annually? So I've never owned an Apple Watch before. So when I recorded my first run, it's like, hey, good job. You went for your first run. And I was like, yes, I did. Yes, I did go for my first run with an Apple Watch. I told you this already, but after I recorded my first run, I didn't actually know. Well, I asked my wife how to start a run. And then when I got finished, I didn't know how to stop it. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, because it's not like there's this button.
Yeah, and so I was like tapping, and I hit the crown, and then I got back to like the home page, and I was like, "Where is it now?" And so it's just you swipe left or right or however swipes work, and you hit the X. Like it's easy,
right?
But only if you know that that's where it is, right?
Well, that's how all Apple products are. It's like they hide everything.
Yeah,
but it's like whenever you figure it out, you're like, oh,
well, that makes sense.
Now I know.
Yeah, I have done an EKG so far, twice.
Yeah,
I'm healthy.
That's good.
I've played with the blood oxygen stuff a little bit. I've ranged from 95 to 100%, which is also healthy. They don't take that long, so that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
I like that even though nobody else knows I'm stressed, my Apple Watch knows I'm stressed. Because when you can feel, like when you're not exercising and you can feel your like heart rate start to go up or whatever, and it's like, hey, maybe you should breathe. I'm like, maybe I should.
Yeah.
My one question so far is with Strava. So right now I'm using the fitness app that comes preloaded on the watch to record my run or whatever. And when I go to Strava, I have the little notification, and I click on it, and it says your activity is ready for import. And so I click on that, and I click import.
Yeah.
Is there a way to auto do that?
Through Strava, no.
Okay.
There's a Health Fit app that you can get called Health Fit, and it's like $3, and basically it'll start auto syncing for you.
Gotcha.
But it's not perfect. It's basically developed by one individual, and she does a really good job with it. I've used it for years.
Is that the one that you said you would tip if?
Yeah. And so there's there's a lot of benefit to that particular app, but Strava now has that thing. So if you're willing to go into Strava and actually hit upload, imagine Strava will eventually get to where it automatically does it for you.
Yeah.
But whenever I saw that I had to actually go into it and click it, I was like, I'll just keep using HealthFit. But
yeah.
There's a couple other apps out there that will do that same type of thing. But yeah, that's the biggest struggle with the Apple Watch, is getting it uploaded to third-party like activity tracker type things.
Yeah.
And it's better now. I mean, there's 6 different series out now compared to whenever I originally started.
Right.
There was like no apps that would do it, and it was a very manual process, and it was a giant pain, and it was frustrating. But now there's enough choices, but you do have to put that extra effort in if you don't have an app that auto syncs it. But yeah.
So I don't know if you ever like really looked at my Garmin watch face, but I had a lot going on.
Yeah.
Besides just the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to find a watch face that also has a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like this. I've got the date and the day.
Yeah.
I've got the current temperature with the high and the low for the day. This brings up heart rate stuff, but it doesn't ever just actually like show what your current heart rate or like what your last reading was. My Garmin did do that. And then I've got my rings up in the corner. And then I've got sunrise and sunset. So whichever one is coming next, it will tell you what time that's going to happen and how long until it happens. So sunset for us today is at 6:27, and that is 6 hours and 51 minutes away.
Yeah.
And then once the sun sets, it'll pop up the info for sunrise.
Nice.
So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I think there is there's information, like if you click on the heart rate thing, there's information whenever you pull up.
Yeah.
So you can see all that type of stuff, but I think there's a third-party application that will actually show what your heart rate was like the last time reading. It read.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's some things that the complications don't show you stuff, and you're like, oh, man, why can't you just show me the information I want? But the ones that you have on there are pretty good. On mine, I have the current temperature, the date, digital clock. My rings are the main thing, and then my calendar. So I've had the same watch face for 3 years.
So something that I didn't even think about until I just watched you do that. I really like the always on display. Because my Garmin was always on. Yeah,
it's a nice feature that they implemented starting the Series 5, and the Series 6 is even brighter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like so the one real way that you can tell is it's kind of, well, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of gray tone right now, and then when I turn it, it's like blue and green.
Yeah, I can see it light up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like the fitness app. I also had a lot of information on my like fitness faces for whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
And when I went for my run the other night, like I didn't feel like I was missing anything.
Yeah.
Like it's not showing my strides, but that's fine.
Your strides. Oh, like while you're actually running?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like strides per minute.
Yeah. That's on there afterwards.
Right. I still have all the same info. I still have all the same stats post. But everything it was showing was what I wanted. Like, right. I have my heart rate, I have my time, I have my distance, I have my pace.
Yeah.
I can see the time, the actual time.
Yeah.
Which is important to me because sometimes I'll cut it short to get back by a certain time or whatever. And so, yeah, I like it.
Well, pretty happy with it then.
I got are these called sport loops?
I don't know what those are called.
I got one
Velcro loops.
I got one of the Velcro-y ones.
Yeah.
It's really soft, which I like.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were Velcro until I talked to you about yours one day, which I had already ordered mine.
I didn't either until I got one.
I thought they were magnets.
I did too. Yeah.
Funny.
That's what I thought. I was like, I don't know how that's going to last. And honestly, mine's just an off-brand, and I haven't had any trouble with it. I thought the Velcro would wear out.
Yeah, because Velcro does.
Yeah, and it's not. I've had this one for well over a year.
I did have my first because obviously I've put it on the charger every night.
Mm-hmm.
Every night. 2 nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This morning when I got up, like I didn't put it on first thing. I walked around and I did some stuff, and Laura said something, and I said, well, I turned my wrist to look at my watch, and I said, I think I have to leave in like 10 minutes, but I don't know because there's nothing on my wrist right now. It was still on the charger stand.
Yeah, because you're used to having it.
I'm used to just always having it on.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
I like it.
Sounds like you liked it.
I like it. The screen really is big.
It is big.
Like, it goes way out to the edge.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I still don't know what, like, I don't really know what everything does yet.
You'll figure it out.
But, yeah, it's
years.
fine.
So, you got years.
Years.
Well, I think that's all I have for topics this week, and I didn't have any topics, so they were your topics. So.
One more thing.
Yeah.
This is real quick. Apple TV Plus, or Apple, whatever, did a thing with Vizio.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got a Vizio TV and it's updated,
mm-hmm.
They're giving 3 months free Apple TV Plus subscriptions. And mine just literally, like, when I turned my TV on, it popped up as a big black screen with, like, hey, sign up here if you want.
Yeah.
So I did that. I've yet to watch a single show. But if you didn't know,
yeah,
and if you don't have, like, automatic updates turned on, that could be stopping something like that from coming through. So if you got a Vizio, heads up.
Yeah.
That's out there.
I recommend watching Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso?
Yeah, it's lighthearted, and it's short, like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 episodes.
Nice. 10 episodes I can get behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the good thing about Apple TV Plus right now. They don't own anything else.
Yeah.
It's all only their original content, which means if it is a series, it's just one season.
Yeah.
And I can actually get behind that. We talked about it before, but anytime I look at something and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, and I click on it and it's like 4 seasons, and I'm like, nope. Doesn't matter how interesting it looks.
Yeah.
Not watching 4 seasons of anything.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I get that way with 6 or 7 seasons. 4
Yeah.
seasons I like, but 6 or 7 I'm like,
that's not going to happen.
That's 6 months.
I'm too late to this party.
Yeah. Let's do some crazy tech.
Crazy tech, crazy tech, crazy tech, crazy tech, crazy tech, crazy tech, crazy tech. Come on now. If you want to talk about some tech with me, it's Mike and me. We're in the car again this week. Oh, why must we feel this way? Hey, tech must be crazy.
That was a good one. That's Nelly.
That's a little Nelly for you.
I'll go first. Mine's going to be really short because it's not a product that's actually out, but I ordered it. So, Wyze. God, I always say it wrong. Why do I say it wrong?
Because Wyze is the directional thing. Like, it is a company.
Yeah. Wyze, the company who makes the cameras that Chad and I have talked about quite a bit, and Chad has an outdoor version.
I do now.
And they have been coming out with products galore lately, but one that actually got my attention was their new smart thermostat.
That's house. Right. I was like, I don't remember us talking about this, but yeah, you did.
Yeah, so I ordered 2 of these smart thermostats, and I've been wanting to because I've been wanting 2 smart thermostats because I have 2 different air units and heating units in my house, one for upstairs and one for the main level. And smart thermostats are very, very expensive, and I've been wanting to get a home kit version, and the cheapest home kit version you can get if you get it on sale is around $100 to $120. And so you're looking at $200+ just in thermostats, and I just haven't been willing to bite the bullet on it. Well, of course, Wyze, as they've always done, have made products very inexpensive but have been good quality.
Very good for very little.
Yeah, so they came out, or they announced their thermostat, which is going to be released in December for pre-orders, and it'll be available to order, I guess, at that time too, for people who didn't pre-order, but it's only $50.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if
you got 2 for the price of less than 1.
I know. I'm like, so if I can get these things and they actually function really well, then
And it's
awesome.
It's smart, right? Like, it's Wi-Fi enabled, and you can do it from your phone and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It all integrates into their app, and I would almost imagine that somebody will make a Siri shortcut to be able to do all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah, I would say that that's the case. So my Wyze app is starting to get a little cluttered. Because for the outdoor cams, you have to have a base station. A base station can serve 4 outdoor cams. And so I have the outdoor cam, I have the base station, I have both of my kids' cameras, and my scale shows up in here too. But I am turning into a Wyze boy too.
You are.
I pre-ordered the headphones.
You did.
So they came out with the thermostat, headphones, and a front doorbell.
Yeah.
Or not a front doorbell, but a doorbell cam.
Yeah. Which I want to order that, because that's only $29.
They have locks and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy what they're doing. But I ordered the headphones.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of excited.
I'm excited to see what you think of them.
I am too. I've never had
because they're $50
over the
right?
ear. Yeah, they're $50.
I mean, it's so cheap.
They stole a couple of engineers from Dolby, made their own headphones, made them active noise canceling, made them over the ear, made them Bluetooth, made them $50.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's worth trying.
Right.
Like, if they are even halfway decent, which, based off their video, people said they sounded really, really good.
Yeah. And with Wyze, I don't know. I'm pre-order gang.
People were thinking that they were $400 or $500 headphones.
Yeah.
And
they thought they were Beats, but just not labeled as such.
Yeah. So that's exciting. They're coming out some cool stuff. I will probably ask for the doorbell cam for a Christmas present. Because $30, my mother-in-law and my mom are always asking me for Christmas ideas. And I'm like, with technology, it's hard because it's all so expensive.
Right.
But they would spend $30 on an item. So.
Right. We were actually talking about that last night with my sister. And we had started talking about it for the kids, but like it turned to me at some point because I'm so hard to buy for.
Yeah. Well, you're an adult male.
Because if it's less than $50, I buy it myself.
Right.
And if it's not less than $50, it's probably $800.
Yeah. That's why every adult is hard to buy for. Even like, I would say women are a little bit easier, at least in my family, because I can always default to candles and smelly lotion.
Right.
So, I mean, they love that stuff. They use it all year long. Yes. I ask my wife every year, are you sure, like, we should buy this for my mom or your mom? And, like, she's like, that was something they wanted. They want that stuff because they stock up at the Christmas time. Right. So, yeah, with guys, it's like, at least on my family, it's like, you have the $50 range that you buy yourself.
Right.
And then you have the super expensive, and then you're like, I don't know, maybe give me a gift card.
Well, and like, so I've had the same wallet for probably a decade. But like, my wife has, I don't know, a handful of purses.
Yeah.
Some of them are nice. Some of them she saw walking through Target and probably cost $20. Like, if I saw something, boy, this would be way out of my comfort zone. But if I saw something that I thought looked cute, and I kind of know what style of purse she likes, I could buy that for her, and she'd be totally happy with it. If she bought me a wallet, I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah. 3-fold? No.
You're super picky.
Super picky.
That's how I am with that
and
stuff.
I think that's a guy thing. I think we find the thing that we like that works, and then that's what we use.
Yeah.
And Wyze has kind of become that for me as a company.
Yeah.
Like, if there's something that I'm looking for and Wyze makes it, that's what I'm going to get.
Yeah. I mean, they're really, what I think is neat about the whole thing is that they're integrating with the home stuff beyond cameras, because they could have just stuck with the inexpensive camera realm, but they've kind of just gone nuts with it, and they do all kinds of things.
Yeah,
and,
your whole home is what they're after.
And I can't wait to see what else they come out with. But
Me too.
The thermostat, I'm super pumped about.
Yeah. My crazy tech, sort of tech, I would like to put out a huge disclaimer here. I heard about this on a reputable personal finance podcast and went and looked it up, and I thought, well, that's kind of wild. I'll talk about it on Crazy Tech. So this is a bank called Fitness Bank, and their website is fitnessbank.fit. They offer savings accounts, and they give you your interest rate based on your daily average step count. So to earn the highest savings rate of 0.95%, which right now is high, prime is 0.05%, and a lot of banks are giving that. 12,500 steps a day. But they also have tiers from 10,000 to 12,500 at 0.85%, 75 to 10,000 at 0.75%, 5,000 to 7,500 for 0.65%, blah, 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 blah. They also have senior rates. So if you're older, they'll give you the higher percentage rates for less steps.
Okay.
It's FDIC insured and all of that kind of stuff. I don't really know how much you want a bank to know about your fitness levels and stuff. But I don't know.
That's a crazy twist is what that is.
Isn't it? So I have an app that will give me $10 for every X number of points I earn based on activity. But that's not me giving them money and asking them to hold on to it and give it back to me at some point.
Right.
That's just a side benefit of me sharing my data.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna do anything with it, but I think it's wild.
It's definitely crazy. Like, I wonder how they came up with the idea of like, let's do fitness and banking. Like,
well, I know there are different insurance companies that will, if you're a non-smoker and you can run a 5K in this time, we'll insure you.
Yeah.
Because like odds are you're probably healthy. Right. You're probably not a risk.
Right.
But but to go to banking,
I wonder if
it's wild.
I wonder if there's actually some correlation between somebody who is fit to a certain extent is more likely to put more money into a bank account. Like, I wonder if there's like that correlation. Like,
I think they just want your data.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering, like, is it? Are they selling the steps? Because that seems weird, but I guess you could. I mean, they'd get a whole bunch of data from you, or is there like actually some like financial incentive behind it? Like, they've done some statistical analysis of like fit people generally put more money into a bank account or have more money in X number of years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
either. Maybe it's because fit people aren't buying Twinkies. And non-fit people are buying Twinkies and spending all their money on Twinkies.
Dude, I'm fit and I love Twinkies.
I do too.
I run so I can eat.
Well, I think that's it. I think that was a good Crazy Tech. I think that was a good episode. Thanks for your watch review. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I think we should let them know where they can find us for the next episodes.
You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at LunchTimeTechTalk. We're on Twitter at LunchTimeTechT1. We have a website, LunchTimeTechTalk.com, where you can browse show notes and listen to old episodes. We've got a link tree down the side where you can find our Patreon page. And you can give us money, because money's awesome. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. Anyway, you can find me on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Weight Watchers, at MSU Mac, except for Facebook. That's just my name, Chad Blakey. MSUMACC. Mike, where you at?
You can find me on runbikemike.com.
Yeah, you can.
All my social media is now underneath a link at the top called social media.
Oh.
Because I now have
you had too many dots.
I now have an official trail map page, and I needed to shrink it down. So
boom.
Yeah. So go check that out, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you then. Bye.